We see the truth, but we ignore the truth, and we persuade ourselves, said delusionally, that the lies that we have seen and that we have told would bet something good. I have been deliberately quiet this year, at least since a few months now. I've been deliberately quiet because it was necessary to let those who fostered this evil on us to have the time, perhaps, to reflect on just exactly what they have done to the collective in pursuit of their selfish, narrow interests. It is impossible to awaken those who pretend to sleep. We were in this Lagos together in March, when the street of Lagos was overtaken with Oro. Yeah, Oro. Because an ethnic group and anyone who appears to resemble that ethnic group, that nationality, or anyone that you have tagged that is likely to vote in a particular manner becomes enemy under the guise of traditional religion. In this state, this is supposed to be the most cosmopolitan of all parts of Nigeria. And we all pretended. When I say we, speaking of the pastors, the imams, those you consider leaders of thought in society, you kept quiet. And then you bewail the evil that has overtaken our land. Even when my own lips were sealed, there were people who were speaking. Dele spoke. And I'm speaking of Dele because he's the one in my own generation. It's Baba Ogunwano. There are many other people. They've spoken. Tired. You would always find accommodation for evil when you are elected to do so. I realized that something has to shift. And it is in that realization that I spoke of the idea of citizenship. Because it is only citizenship as an idea that can stand in challenge of the prevailing idea that is governing Nigeria. Every system, whatever is utilitarian value, whatever it is you're looking to do with that system, it must be designed with that end in mind. So in designing the thing, the habit of the system shapes its character, and it is critical to look at its habit to paint its character. Nigeria is essentially a feudal state. Because the reality is that aside from the traditional institutions that were in place long before the white man found his unfortunate legs, and the Arabs before them found their way into this space, we had our kings. And those kings are still in existence, as moribund as the kingship and the emirship and the traditional rulership system might have become. Appointees of today's government, who are the true monarchs. Reality is, today's Nigeria is not Republican. It is anything but. So you have a situation where you have a constitution. It says it is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But it is not an expression of the will of the people who are known as Nigerians, who are Nigerians whether they like it or not, because they cannot freely express their right to self-determination within the construct that says it is a federation. So in reality, what you find is that Nigeria is a feudal state comprising essentially, as the Supreme Court has now confirmed, of 37 states. That is the reality. And then there is a sultan at the head, and forget the one in Sokoto, I'm not speaking to his eminence. I'm talking about the sultan that is inside the rock at Asokoro. They change them periodically in a game of succession. that has never been reflective of the will of the people. So, be clear. You have a feudal system. Your governors, they are the emirs. E, the Jaguda. E is the Sultan. The one before him was the Sultan. The one before that one was also a Sultan. And as long as the 1999 fraud persists, whoever sits in that office would be the Sultan of Nigeria. That, unfortunately, is the reality of Nigeria. So, the entirety of the design of governance, the choices that the government makes at any point in time, is in promotion and sustenance of the feudal system that it has built. So what are these design choices? Feudalism exists on two critical legs. Two. The first is weaponized ignorance. Those who are the subjects of feudal states are systematically kept ignorant because it is in their ignorance that they will find acceptance for their non-equality with fellow men who have only one head, two legs, and every other digit just like themselves. But feudalism is only a step. The serf, who is what you call the citizen, because the Nigerian is a serf, the serf is deliberately kept ignorant because it is in his ignorance that he would accept the state of serfdom, which is little different from slavery. So get it clear. Ignorance is a policy goal of the state once it is a feudal one. Look around you. What has happened? We're in Lagos. This is Lagos, the fifth largest economy, if not the fourth, in the whole of Africa. What about his educational system? Looks revolutionary. What is it about it that even looks contemporary? From provision of infrastructure to even the human resource, illiterates are teaching children. And what are they even teaching them? The entire education curriculum of Nigeria is useless, as with the same with most other African countries. What are you teaching? They are graduating engineers that cannot build paved roads. Every time I see Lebanese, Syrians, Chinese engineers on our road project, my heart bleeds. 60 plus years after independence, this is where we are. It's not by accident. It's by design. If you can see, it's not by everything that you see around you, it's by design. These are design choices. But we pray, we're praying. Our naira will soon become parallel with the dollar. We're still praying. We should even fast. Those are systemic intentions. And those are the choices it made in order to pursue the goal. So when you have finished dealing with weaponized ignorance, you now need to look, what are the other design choices? Weaponized poverty. Weaponized poverty. It is deliberate. Nigerians, wake up. The destruction of the economy is not by accident. The destruction of the economy is not by accident. It is deliberate. Let this sink into your head. It is not by accident that we have not managed to be able to generate electricity in Nigeria in 60-something years. I recently found a National Concord editorial dating back to 1983, speaking to the incompetence of NEPA with power generation. 1983. Guess how many years ago that was? 31 years ago. And we're still talking about off NEPA, up NEPA, off NEPA, up NEPA, up till now. When are we going to come to the point where we begin to just accept, acknowledge that these things are not problems to those who are pretending to solve the problem? They are design options. Bola Tinubu came into office in spite of all of his shenanigans, the blaze of lies and myths. And one of the first things he said was, subsidy is gone. So now subsidy is gone, but subsidy is there. The currency has lost at least close to 100% of its value. I'm not an economist, but I do have a pocketbook. I have a wallet. I know how far it has shrunk. I know how many more people are forced to beg. I know how many more people I'm forced to find ways to extend a hand to. I know just exactly how easy it has become for Nigerians since this Jaguda brought himself into office. It has been hell in this country. It was hell before he came, but it's gotten worse. Insecurity. Insecurity also deepens the poverty because it then means that those who have been living on subsistence farming are suddenly driven away from their farms. The emirs who had their tenures confirmed by the Supreme Court, what did they say? They were all busy falling over themselves to thank Mr. President, the Sultan. They didn't need to thank the people because the people's vote did not count. The people's vote did not count. So they did not need to thank the people. And they did not need to thank the judiciary for upholding the law because they all know that the judiciary, our judiciary, does not uphold any law. So because we're familiar with the fact of what might happen or what will happen, because think about it, people were waving flags at Lekki toll gate. They were killed, murdered. The state denied it. Fellow serfs denied the humanity of those who were murdered. The international community looked away. They looked away, pretended they did not see what they saw. They unsaw what they saw. You know what I'm saying? They pretended as long as the oil is flowing and refugees are not flowing out, they're fine with whatever shit happens in our country. I have no guns to give to you. I'm not going to tell you to go and buy catapult. We are all going to have to figure this out together, but understand very clearly, nothing short of a revolution will save us from this mess. I am quick to decry violence. It is because the system has anticipated it, is prepared for it, and prefers it. But the system is not prepared for our unified demands for justice, for equity, for citizenship. I know it sounds utopian, but what are our alternatives? Guns? Or we fold our hands in resignation?